Peace, my name is Erskine. This is Coding and Uploading, a vlog of my journey to learn how to code. Coding and uploading. Let me just tell you something about the name, the YouTube channel, and the website. First, let's deal with the name Coding and Uploading. The word coding in computer programming lingo means the use of computer programming languages to give computers instructions on what you want them to do. Coding is the way that humans communicate with and give commands to computers. Now, uploading means the transfer of data from one computer to another, usually transferring data to a larger computer or to a server. I'll be uploading video to this YouTube channel, and I will be uploading code to my website. Now, this YouTube channel, Coding and Uploading, is going to document my learning progress. I'm not teaching, nor am I trying to provide tutorials on coding, at least not at this time. I'm learning how to code in public. The website, which is www.codinganduploading.com, that's where I'll upload some of my coding exercises, so those who wish, they can experience them and kick the tires and give them a test ride, give the code a test ride. The website will also serve as my portfolio. Now, the language that I'm going to be learning is Python, and Python is said to be the easiest and recommended to be the first programming language that you should learn. Now, it is also said that the first programming language that you learn is the hardest language to learn. That, I could tell you, has been my experience. This is my third attempt trying to learn how to code in Python. According to Python's website, Python is an interpreted object-oriented high-level programming language with dynamic semantics. Basically, computers speak in a language that consists of ones and zeros. Python is a computer language that helps programmers communicate with computers without having to type hundreds of thousands of ones and zeros. Let's move forward. Now, I'll be doing my coding. I'll be writing my code in what is referred to as a IDE, Integrated Development Environment. So I'll be using one that's called PyCharm. That's the IDE I'll be using. And the reason why, as their website says, it assists with intelligent code completion, on-the-fly error checking, and quick fixes. Those are the things that I need to assist me in learning how to code. I'm new at this. I need all the help I could get. Now, my learning process is a 4-step process. Again, this is my third attempt trying to learn how to code using Python, so I'm pretty much desperate. The first step in my learning how to code using Python is that first I'll learn the lesson, and then I'll write that lesson over and over and over again in various ways. As Zig Ziglar said, repetition is the mother of all learning, the father of action, which makes it the architect of achievement. So that's why I'm using repetition to learn code. There's a saying in the coding community, it's ABC, which stands for always be coding. My second step in my learning process is to videotape myself explaining the concepts and purposes of the code that I write. It's been said that if a person cannot clearly explain what they've learned, they probably don't fully understand what they've learned. So my explanations are not lessons. I'm merely explaining what I've learned up to that specific point. My third step, the third step of my learning process, is to upload the video of my explanation to this YouTube channel. Now, for people with similar characteristics, similar character traits as myself, once we've publicly made a number of efforts toward achieving a goal, we feel a healthy forms of social pressure and internal psychological pressure to persevere until we achieve our goal. I know this is not a technique that everybody should use. It's just a certain breed of people that can appreciate a healthy form of pressure to complete a goal. And the fourth step of my learning process is to improve and maintain a healthy mind, body, and spirit. As Les Brown said, in order to do something you've never done, you have to become someone you've never been. So that is the 4-step learning process that I'm using to learn how to code this time. So I'm going to give you an example. An example that I'm going to give you is my first vlog, which is the intro that I just completed, and an explanation of my first line of code. My first line of code. Now, the first line of code is somewhat of a custom in the coding community that your first line of code is to print hello world. So I'll be doing that in this lesson. I'll be going over the print function, string, single and double quotes, input statement, and then I'm going to end the vlog. These vlogs, my goal is to have them very quick, very short, due to the fact that learning how to code is one thing, then to do a vlog and a YouTube channel as well creates a whole nother obstacle. But I'm willing to do that because I want to learn how to code. So let's go into PyCharm. Okay, now we're inside of PyCharm. This is where I'm going to be learning how to code. Let's get inside of it. I already told you what Python is. Let me explain to you what a print function is. A print function, it does a number of things, including but not limited to writing code. It basically prints a string or a number onto the console, and I'll show you what the console is once I run the code that I've written. A string is a sequence of characters. It is a derived data type, also known as a class. Strings are immutable. This means that once they're defined, they cannot be changed. Now, all of that is going to make sense as the days go forward, as I continue to upload code. Let's go to the first line of code that I wrote. Line 13 right here. It says to print hello world. So you'll see the code says print, parentheses, then a quote, a single quote, and then the phrase hello world. Now, I've added some other things into this string just so that I could explain this lesson. I'm identifying a line. This is line 13, as I said, and I'm using single quotes. This is going to be important because when I print this out, you'll see what I mean. On line 14, again, I have the same exact sentence, hello world. This time I have it in double quotes. Now, quotes tell the computer that everything inside the quotes basically is human language, and everything outside the quotes is computer language. In this instance, that's the Python computer language. And everything that's outside of the quotes will not show in the console. We're going to get to the console in a few moments. Now, let's take a look here. Why would we use double quotes? We use double quotes to compensate for sentences containing quoted statements. Here's an example. Go to line 22. The code here, print. Hamlet said to be or not to be. Now this is line 20. This is single quotes. The reason why we have single quotes for this string is because the string inside has a quote. And in the English language, you have to use double quotes to indicate that you're quoting someone. However, if you use double quotes to to indicate in the English language and then use double quotes in the Python language when you're communicating to the computer, then the computer is going to get mixed up and it's going to give you an error. So you have to invert from double quotes to single quotes depending on what the string is. You have to make that compensation. You have to compensate for the English language. Let's move forward. Double quotes are used to compensate for grammar contractions. When a sentence contains words that have contractions, that are contractions. And the reason why is because apostrophes and single quotes share the same symbol. So let's go to line 28, where I wrote a line of code, and it says, if I'm going to tell a real story, I'm going to start with my name. That's a quote by Kendrick Lamar. So in this line of code, the string contains two words that have contractions. Both of them, coincidentally, is I'm. And as you know, the contraction requires an apostrophe. Therefore, the Python computer language requires that I use double quotes so as not to confuse the computer by having single quotes on the outside and then having apostrophes on the inside. The computer will not know what part is for the human language and what part is computer language, and we'll get an error. Let's move forward. We're going to go down to lines 33 and 34. Now we're going to deal with an input statement. An input statement stops the program so the user can input info that the program requires. So here we have what is referred to as a variable. I'll get to that in another lesson. And it equals an input, and that input is a string, and that string is a question. And the question is, what is your name? And so the input that's going to be required is for the user, the human that's using the computer, to enter their name. Then when we go to line 34, I've written some computer code to have the computer print the person's name, no matter what the name is, and to state that that person is learning to code in public. That's the code I wrote in line 34. So let's run all of the code, all lines of code that I wrote. Now, let's go down to the console. The console, first let me just say, this area up here is the editor. This area down here is the console. The console is a representation of what a user will see when they're on their computer interacting with the code that I wrote. But in PyCharm, this environment in where I'm learning how to code, it allows me to see if I'm coding correctly inside of this console down here. So this is the results of the code that I wrote. So now, let's go back up to line 13 where I wrote hello world using single quotes. And here is line 13 down here in the console, hello world. Line 14, again, hello world. You will see whether I use double quotes or single quotes, I'm going to get the same results. Line 13 and 14 both printed out hello world because the quotes only make a difference regarding the grammar inside of the human sentence. Now, let's go down to line 22, where it says, Hamlet said to be or not to be. You look down here in the console, you'll see Hamlet said, and you'll see that the quotation marks, the quotes are actually printed so that whatever human is using this program, they'll see the quote to be or not to be. Notice that the Python language, the word print, the parentheses, the single quote, and then the closing single quote and the closing parentheses, they're not shown in the console. I have these parentheses here just so you can see what line this is. As a matter of fact, let me just remove those parentheses so we don't get confused. And I'll just put an equal sign. There you go. Now I'm going to run the code again. Once I run the code again, you'll see Hamlet said to be or not to be. And this is line 20, where I used single quotes. And you'll see that you don't see in the console any single quotes. You don't see the parentheses, nor do you see the word print, because that is Python computer language. That's for the computer only. Everything inside of the quotes is human language. In this case, the English language. Now, let's move forward. Let's go to lines 28. It says, if I'm going to tell a real story, I'm going to start with my name, Kendrick Lamar. And you'll see here that with this, you have two words that are contractions, and those contractions require apostrophes. Therefore, in order to let the computer know that we're about to print human language, we had to use double quotes. We had to use double quotes to compensate for the apostrophes that are inside of the sentence. Now, let's go to the input statement. This input statement on lines 33 and 34, it's asking me to input what is your name. So I go down to the console, I enter my name, Erskine, and when I hit enter, it says Erskine is learning to code in public. That's line 32. No, that's line 34. What? Let me correct that. Correct that to line 34. And let me just remove the parentheses so that we don't confuse those parentheses with the Python parentheses. We'll just use an equal sign. Let's run this again. What is your name? Again, I'll put my name, Erskine. Enter. Erskine is learning to code in public. Line 34. So that's line 34. Erskine is learning to code in public. This is a variable. It's an input statement, so I could change the name as often as I like. Let's run it again. And the code is going to perform correctly. We'll just say John Doe. Hit enter. And it says John Doe is learning to code in public. And we could do that over and over. So we got to wrap this up. This is going to be the longest video, hopefully in this vlog, this YouTube channel, because it's just a progress. It's just here to show how I progress in learning how to code. This is my understanding of these Python coding concepts and rules. I'm still learning. My understanding is limited, but my will to learn is boundless. If there's something that I missed in this explanation or something that I misunderstood, please leave information or the correction in the comments below. Please like this video and please subscribe to this channel and just keep learning. Peace.